Hey everybody, welcome back to Hood Time Welding with Everett. So today we're making something for Mrs. Hood Time. She has a friend that just moved into a new apartment and there's no closet in her bedroom, so she needs somewhere to hang her clothes. Mrs. Hood Time was looking for a clothes rack, but she didn't like the way any of them were built. She thought they were too flimsy, so she of course enlisted my aid. So it's a pretty simple build. There's going to be just going to be a base, and there's going to be two places to hang the clothes. Um, Everything I make here, I pretty much make to my measurements. Meaning, I think this would be about the right size for this. I sort of compare it, and that's how I make it. So the first part we're going to do is we're going to start with the base, because I forgot to explain. The one other thing is it has to be taken apart, or be able to be taken apart. So of course it can be transported, and then that way if she ever moves, it'll make it easier on her. So what I decided to do is I've got the base here. It's 36 inches long, and what we're going to do is just put some upright pipes on for them to stand in, and then so each side can just put into those, and you'll see what I mean as we get going here. So as usual, I hope you enjoy my content. So let's go ahead and get building on this. So now that we have everything welded together, we're going to fit it together so we can do the last parts. You might have noticed I didn't use very thick tubing on the like where the pipes are and stuff, and that's just because I didn't really need to. I mean, it's holding closed, so it just needs to stay together. I used conduit is actually what I used, and that's just because that's what I had that was the closest to what would fit. The rebar. So you can see she's all together here. So the only thing we got to do is just the top's floppy here. So that's why I added these two ears on either side, because what we're going to do is we're going to bend the bar across and down into those to keep it upright. But I wanted it all together before we did that. So for these, it needs to be, well, pretty much the same distance as down here. So that's at 20. And I got to flip this one because it's a little bit out a little bit. Just because of the way I fit it. I mean, it wasn't a super important piece, so I wasn't overly worried. So the outside should match. So if we put it at 20, so the outside of the bend's got to be at 20 inches. And the inside has to be at, outside's got to be at 20. Well, how big are each one of these? 3/4, so 20 minus 3/4 and 3/4, which is 1.5 inches, so 18.5 on the inside of the bend. So 18.5, so 20, because you need a piece long enough to go all the way out, because the outside of your bend is going to be where they hit. And then 2 inches, 4, so 20 plus 4 is 24 inches. So 24 inches should get us by. And that, so we'll go ahead and get those cut, and then we'll work on getting them bent, and that's all it should be to it. But like I said, this will be a nice easy piece. Should be able to hang clothes on it 2 different levels to be able to see and take it apart when she's done with it, or she needs to move. So nothing spectacular, nothing too fancy, but you don't always need fancy and spectacular. You just need something that's going to work. So let's go ahead and get those pieces cut and bent. Well, sorry about that. I screwed up and I had the camera turned for the cutting, but I forgot to turn it back for the bending. That one we might have to mess with a little bit. It was a little bit off the, that's the hard time sometimes when you're, hard thing sometimes when you're bending, is just trying to get the legs parallel. So just gotta tweak that one a little bit. Not sure how I'm gonna do that. You know what? Let's go ahead and grab a clamp it to the table, and just give it a couple whacks with a big hammer. And I bet you that'll tweak it back into place. Like I said, getting those 2 legs perfectly parallel sometimes is a little bit harder than you would think, or it's harder than you realize until you do it, because the one end free floats. While the other end's while you're bending. Let's see if that did it. Yeah, just a little bit more. So actually, let's get a little piece of metal to put up under the one leg, and it'll give us a little bit more room for it to, or no, we'd want it on the back edge. That should be enough. There we be. So, like I said, it's not anything fancy, but you'll be able to hang on 2 sets of clothes on it, be able to see, you know, the stuff on the front, stuff on the back. It all pops right apart. And that's all we were looking for. It's just something nice and easy for her to be able to hang her clothes on. So, as usual, thanks for watching. Wasn't anything special today, but it was something. So, we'll talk to you on the next one. Big thumbs up if you like it. Any comments or questions. And, you know, I try to answer all the questions right away. So, we'll talk to you later. Thanks.